is Mark Seefts. I'm Senior Director of Software Development for Apex. Welcome to our Apex office hours. Today we want to talk about what's new in Apex 23.2. This is a part one of a five-part series. If you have any questions, any comments, please participate in chat and post your questions in the Q&A. And let's get going. All right, Apex 23.2 is our upcoming release, and on Tuesday of this week, we upgraded apexoracle.com, so you can already try out all the new features coming soon. Please use that as an opportunity to kind of learn about the new features, try out your applications, make sure everything's working fine. Let us know if you encounter any issues. We don't have a release date yet, but it should be fairly soon. So again, apexoracle.com has been upgraded to Apex 23.2 on Tuesday of this week. Before we get into 23.2 new features, a few announcements and a few news to share. apexoracle.com/blog is our blog website. I want to highlight 5 recent blog posts. There is the blog post this Tuesday, where we announced the availability on apexoracle.com of Apex 23.2. Then there's a whole series of postings around simplifying business process management using the new Apex workflow feature. There's also a blog post on using action tasks in Apex 23.2. There's also a blog post on making app deployments easy with the ORADS REST APIs, and the success stories on how Buzzclan and Oracle Apex solution delivers unmatched innovation. So that's at apexoracle.com/blog. Take a look. There are lots of blog posts. And then upcoming events. We do have lots of events around the world, in-person and virtual events. Go to apexoracle.com, go events to look at what's coming up. I'm sure there's something in your area. I do want to highlight a few upcoming events. Next week, there's going to be the Michigan Oracle User Summit, where Jason Haynes and Jason Straub are going to be and talk about 23.2. Then in November 15th and 16th, it's going to be the UK OUG conference, and you can meet with Alexis, Christian Rokita, and Richard Allen there. So that's in the UK, in Reading this year, ukoug.org, November 15th and 16th. And then later in November, there's going to be the German Oracle User Group, DOAG, in Nuremberg, November 21st till 24th. I'm going to be there with Carsten Sarski, Ralf Müller, and Christian Rokita. All right, next up, Apex 23.2 new features. This is going to be a whole series starting today and over the next 5 weeks, every Thursday at 10 Eastern. Just be careful with our, I guess, daylight saving time changes. I think Europe's changing next week and the US afterwards. So just make sure you get the right time zone. But it's going to be the next 5 weeks. Typically, we do like 3 to 4 office hours for a new release. This time we have a 5th one. We already had this one on the November 2nd scheduled, where Carsten and Florian are going to talk about ubiquitous search in database 23c. We're going to fold that into this whole series. So today we're going to do a general overview of what's new in Apex 23.2, and then do some deep dives into the new Combobox, faceted search enhancements, and custom backgrounds for maps. I'm going to give you the general overview, and then next we're going to have Alexis Galames talk about the new Combobox, followed by Ronnie talking about faceted search enhancements in 23.2, and then custom backgrounds for maps, and Tony is going to talk about that. And then next week, we're going to see the new workflow feature in Apex 23.2. Ananya and Ralph are going to talk about that. And then the week after that, it's going to be the ubiquitous database search in database 23c. Carsten and Florian are going to present this together with the Oracle text team. And then the week after that, on November 9th, we're going to talk about the new working copy feature, builder extensions, and shared component subscriptions with Peter, Christian, and Shihari. And then on November 16th, last one in this series, universal theme enhancements, the new upload image item, QR code, static application files and object storage, and REST source catalogs from OpenAPI with Paige, Jason's, Carsten, and others. All right, so that's the series. And here's a list of, I guess, a high-level list of new features in 2302. I do want to briefly talk about some of the bigger ones and then hand it over to our other team members. If you want to read up in more detail on what's new in 2302, go to apexoracle.com/go/what's new 2302, or just go apexoracle.com. There's a link on that page, and you can read up on all the new features. There are a bunch of videos, and again, there are blog posts that talk about some of these features in much more detail. All right, let's talk about some of the features coming in 2302. One of the big ones is going to be application working copies. And the idea here is that you can more easily work in a team or more safely work on your own by creating basically a working copy of an application, and then use that working copy to make changes, fix bugs, add features, then do a diff between your working copy and the main application. Select which changes you want to merge in, refresh your main application, or refresh your working copy from main if anyone else in your team made changes, and have an easy way to merge and diff changes. So I think that's going to be a game changer for developing in teams, being able to safely create working copies and working in teams. Next up, we have workflow. This has been in the works for some time now. We're introducing a workflow engine into Apex. We started a little bit in that space with the approvals component in previous releases. This is now the full integration of a workflow solution for automating your business processes. We're going to have a visual workflow designer. You see a little bit of a preview here. It'll be looking much like a page designer, and you'll see more about this next week during the office hours. You'll have lots of features built in, like conditional routing, integration with the human approvals and action tasks that we had in previous releases. You're going to be able to invoke REST APIs as well as PL/SQL APIs from all your steps and processes. You're going to be able to send emails, send out push notifications. You're going to be able to monitor your workflow every step of the way. And the whole implementation is extensible, so you can write your own processes to run your own page processes and business processes. All right, we have a few new and enhanced components in Apex 23.2. There are a few new page items, the Combobox that we're going to see later today, then image upload and QR code generator that we're going to see in a few weeks. There's going to be custom background maps. Again, we're going to see this a little bit later. Faceted search enhancements also going to be shown here. And then updates to template components. We now have unlimited attributes and better performance. Template components were introduced in Apex 23.1, and this is a continuation of that feature. Then we extended our shared component subscriptions. A lot of customers that work on large projects, they tend to split their applications into modules, into a number of individual applications that comprise one big app. And to make that easier, it makes sense to subscribe your shared components, your lists and your themes and your LOVs and everything across all these different parts of your app, all these individual applications. So now we have subscriptions across the board with automatic dependency resolution. You can look at your subscription status and you can refresh and delete in bulk. Another big change comes with Quick SQL. Quick SQL is a feature that you find in our SQL workshop, and that makes it very easy to use a markup language to create DDL scripts. It's been in the product for some time. We've now implemented a new JavaScript-based parser that translates your shorthand into proper DDL. And along with that, we're also introducing a graphical ER diagram. So as you type your shorthand Quick SQL, you can see an ER diagram develop on the right-hand side. Now, this Quick SQL update and change requires the latest version of ORTS. On apexoracle.com, you can already try it out. We have ORTS 23.3 installed there. Once Apex 23.2 ships, you need to make sure that you also upgrade ORTS to the latest release in order to use this feature. There have been numerous enhancements to REST data sources, new parameters, new enhancements to plugins, the ability to create REST data sources of an open API catalog. And in 23.1, we introduced a new OData plugin for REST data sources. This has now been integrated natively into Apex. Right, then some general builder improvements. When you go into the builder, you'll see that there's a new simplified create application wizard. So all you need to do is type in a name and create an application right there. All the other options, like the previous create app wizard with all the different page types and such, is still there, of course. You just click on the appropriate link and like links to creating an app from a spreadsheet and so on. They're all on this new page. We improved the UX for application exports and imports. And we added the ability to add builder extension links. That means you are able to add links to the Apex Builder menu to your own apps, to your own extensions, to more easily kind of invoke these apps, go to these apps. This is part of a longer project where we want to be able to, or enable you to build your own builder extensions. Page Designer has the ability to comment and uncomment from the context menu. The application gallery, where you install your sample and start applications, has been enhanced. You can now install these apps in the background. So you just navigate there, you kick off the installation, you do something else, you come back and the app installs in the background. Some of these apps are fairly large, so they took a little bit of time to install. This is now running in the background. And then there have been accessibility improvements across the builder. Right, a few additional updates and enhancements. When you're closing a dialog, you can now show a success message. Big new feature is the store static resources and object storage. If you're using Apex, then you know that there's application and workspace files. That's for you an ability to upload, say, JavaScript libraries or your own images into your Apex application and then reference them at runtime. So if you want to have your own logos or your own JavaScript libraries, you can upload them as application files. And now with Apex 23.2, you can choose to store these files in object storage if you're running Apex on the cloud. So let's say you run Apex on ADB. You can offload these static resources into object storage now. That improves the load time of your applications or of the static resources that you're referencing. Those static resources are still going to be stored within your app metadata. So when you're deploying your app from one instance to another, those static resources are going to be copied along. Interactive Reports has a new default edit icon. Ubiquitous database search for database 23C, support for that feature. And you'll learn more about that in 2 weeks. Some new instant parameters to disable and restrict your apps. And then there's a new data set or 2 new data sets for Arabic and Italian languages. I actually went to Morocco last week to a conference and I was able to use this for my demo there, building an app with right to left support in Arabic. Then we extended our lists. You're now able to reference other lists in your SAP entries. There's been enhancements to template directives, improvements to background processing. Background processing was introduced in 23.1. That allows you to run your page processes in the background. So if you have something that takes some time, like uploading data or processing something for a few minutes, you can now run this in the background. And that has been further improved in 23.2. The Redwood Lightstream theme has been refreshed. And with each release, we are upgrading our JavaScript open source libraries. We have like 10, 12 open source libraries, including our Oracle Jet bundled into Apex. And with each release, we make sure we uptake the latest versions of all of these libraries. All right, so with that, I would like to hand it over to the team for some deep dives. And I think we are starting with Alexis. So I'm going to stop share. Alexis, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mark. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I'm going to talk about our new Combobox web component. And let's dive into it. Our new Combobox has 2 main flavors, which is Combobox and Combobox 1. A combo box is a control that allows the users to type freely, but they can also select an option of the list of suggested values. Like right now here, I have a list of countries, and I can select one, or I'm able to type something else, and it will create like a chip. The Combobox and Combobox One, they share the same functionalities. So for this presentation, I'm mainly going to use the Combobox Mini. One of the main improvements that we did for Combobox, it was the multi-select option. Because when we have our list of values, normally you filter the view and select an option, and it closes the drop-down. And now you have to filter again, do it again and again. It depends how many times you want to select. But now with the multi-select option, you are able to come and select as many values as you want. And we are going to keep the drop-down open until you click outside or tap away from the item. This also supports the filtering. So it means now that I'm filtering this drop-down with the list of options, now I can type or with the keyboard and select as many values as I want, and it won't close our drop-down. I think that's a nice improvement to productivity when you want to provide this control to your users. Another of the nice new features for Combobox is that it allows you to copy and paste some values, and it will automatically create the chips. So let's say I have this string, El Salvador, Argentina, and Angola. So I come here and I paste it, and now we have the 3 chips created, which is very cool. The new Combobox supports icons. It also supports template directives. I'm going to show some nice example of the template directives in a moment. And it also supports a multi-column search. So you are able to go to the share LOBs and add many columns there, and you can define some columns searchable but not visible, like if that column has some data that people is likely to type to find a record, but you don't necessarily want to show it. So, and also you can show some columns and tag them as not searchable, like let's say the population. Maybe I don't want people to search through a number, but I want people to be able to find a country through the capital. So now if I want to find Belize, I could type Belmopan, and I can find it. And at the end, it creates it sets the value to Belize. We also support groups. So now we have here, they are grouped by continent. So we have Africa and America. So now you're able to group your records by them. The same configuration also applies to Combobox One. And on the template directives that we're going to take a look in a moment, you will be able to use your columns as substitution strings to be able to drive your UI to customize it as much as you want. Another of the nice improvements that we have for Combobox is that even though it accepts free entry text from the user, we also support the combination of a 2 columns list of value where we have the ID and the name columns, and at the same time the user is able to type a new possible value. So, we are going to put that manual value in a different item. Right now it's visible only for the sake of the presentation. But with that item, you will be able to process the item with some PLC query outside when you are submitting the page. So for example, right now I have all of these countries, but if I type something like new, which is not on the list of value, you will see that it is identified like non-data set value, and it will put away on these manual entries items. What is the utility of that? Let me show you use case for it. We have here a system that it has some recipes, and we also have a table that is called categories, which is going to serve like a tags for the recipes. You are able to set, a recipe has the Mexican and the vegan tag, but at the same time, you want to allow that when you are on a recipe, you are able to write, to type a new tag, even though that the user could always go to the categories page, click create, and then save, and then come back to the recipes. It will be too slow. So what you want is like when the user comes to the recipes, is creating a new recipe or is updating a recipe, is presented with all the options that are already created on the categories table. But at the same time, they can type a new option that if it's not presented on the categories table, it will be created. So let's see how that works. So right now I have beef taco. So probably I will set the tags for Mexican and carnivore. Let's say that I think that this is a quick recipe. So I want to add the quick tag. Now, if I apply changes, I'm able to go to the categories, and we have the new record. If I go to the recipes, we can see that that we have our new record here too, which it doesn't have an image at the moment, so it has some placeholder image. But this allows a faster UI for create on the fly these tags. Now the user can go to the categories and set, let me set an image maybe for the quick recipe and a description less than 20 minutes and apply. And now they are able to come and see that we have our image. It's not the best image, it's quite invisible with this theme, but they will be able to do that. And also we take care of duplicates. For example, if they type again quick, it won't do anything because it's already selected. If they type, which is controllable by the attribute case sensitive on page designer, if they type something like vegan, is on this case everything is lowercase, but on the data set it exists with an uppercase V. We don't want to create a record for that, so we consolidate that data, and in the moment that you present is set to how it's written on the data set. Behind the scenes, let me inspect this page. We have first the HTML expression, where we could use our template directives. On this case, I use some basic list style where I added an image tag, some container. These classes are my custom classes. They are not required by the component. Whether you can put whatever here that you need for your specific use case. But the important part is here. You have the name and the description. And these are the columns that are defined on the list of values. So now if I go to the list of values category, we can see the different columns that that table includes. In this case, we have the ID, the name, and the description, and the image. And those are the columns that I can use on my template of options. So let me come back to the item. So yes, now we can use the name, the description, and on this case, the image is a plain string using a source. And you're able to customize this as much as you want. Regarding the manual entries, I have some hidden component which value protected equal false. It has to be on false because it changed on the client. And on our Combobox, our manual entries item, we set the item that will have the manual entries for it. Having this item separated allows that when we submit the page with some PL/SQL, what I'm doing is, this is a 3 layouts table. I have the recipes, I have the categories, and I have a intersection table called categories recipes. I'm checking if a new entry has been added, let's say test. If that one isn't on the categories, I add it to the categories table, and then I add it to the intersection table. And when save, now it is part of my dataset. This configuration also work in, as I mentioned before, in the Combobox 1 version. So now if I go here, it's similar to the example I was showing with the countries. If I type Albania and I leave, it's not a manual entry. It's not something that doesn't, it's not part of the dataset. But if I type something like new country and I leave, I get the manual value here. This, as I mentioned before, this is going to be hidden, and it's only used to later being able with PL/SQL process this new manual value and being able to insert it on a different table. So now we are able to use the Combobox to create on the fly these records, and the user is able to create many of them, many tags, and maybe later configure in a different table, but we don't have to either add an interrogate to add multi-values, or putting the user to go to create another to other page to having to create that tag. That's manual configuration is not always needed. If you only have a plain tag column, like let's say the Combobox menu that I was showing, that doesn't have the manual configuration identification, you don't have to do all of that. You don't have to create Combobox and set it to many, and you are able to have your value there. And now we submit, you will see on the session state the value separated by whichever separator just you select. On this case, probably this column. But if you have a more complex configuration, you are still able to use the Combobox for it. And with that, I finish my presentation. I don't know if anyone have any questions.
Well, I guess we're gonna have the question in the Q&A. So thank you very
Perfect.
much, Alexis. And then I'm gonna hand it over
Thank you,
to
Mark.
Ronnie next for the faceted search announcements.
Yeah, hello and welcome from my side. I want today to show you something about our new faceted search features. And I prepared an app for you, so I have no slides or anything else for you. And at first, I want to show you how it was in the past. So on this page, we got the cards region that shows us some stocks with the current value and how it changed since the last day. And on the left side, we have our faceted search. And in that case, I want to filter my stocks. So I want to see, okay, I only want to see stocks that are that changed only by $2 or yeah. So I said, okay, I only want to see changes with last change of $7. Then I press enter, and then I see my filtered values. But now I want to filter only changes that are greater than the $7. So I have to use a different facet. And the main problem is when now a customer wants to filter for equal or not equal, then he gets into trouble because you have to call the developer and say, hey, developer, please add me a new facet so that I can do the filtering on this. And that is not only for numbers, it's also for strings. So when I want to search for contains of the title, then I have to use one facet. And when I want to search with start with, then I have to use another facet for this. And that's the main improvement in 23.2 for faceted search. We introduced arbitrary facets, and that is what I want to show you now. I go to the next page, and as we can see, it's a little bit more cleaner because I only have here two facets. I have one facet for the title, and I have one facet for this last change. And the good thing is that now, when we enable this feature, our end users can directly change the operators. How does this look in the page designer? We have here our facet region with our facets. And the only thing you have to do is to enable users can choose operator. Then you can still set the comparison operator, but this is just a default that is set when the user have no session state. And that's everything you have to do when using this new feature. And let's try it out. Okay. We now have our page. I want to filter equals 8. No data is found, but I also can easily change to less than or greater than. And we have also new operators. In the past, operators like not equals, not starts with, or not contains were missing. We added them now because in the past, it made not so much sense to have something like not equals, because to create a single facet for not equals is very often useless. But now users can change the operators, so it makes sense to have them all. And the cool thing is that you can also set what I have done here within URL. For this example, I created a button. I just have to move my Zoom toolbar. I created a button that sets a specific facet. I want to clear this one. And as you can see, you can also set what you want to do with your URL, with the URL. So in that case, I want to set that we don't use starts. As you can see here, we want to switch to not starts with. I press enter, and as you can see, we now applied also the operator not starts with. And that's stored in the session state. So even when I leave the page and come back to the page, then my last selected filter is still selected. And that's pretty cool because now end customers can directly switch the filter. We did the same for smart filters, but for smart filters, you have a little bit a different UI. Smart filters have the option to use this modal dialog. And the good thing is that we now have a little bit more space. So here we don't have this select list, we have this radio group. So we can easily set, okay, we say starts with SE, press enter, then we have a filtering. And now we can easily switch between the filters just by clicking on the item. This also works for keyboard navigation. So you can easily go here by keyboard then you can navigate with the arrow keys, just press up and down, and then you can select by pressing enter the operator you want to have. That's the same for faceted search, but I wanted to show you this also in smart filters. And there's another improvement that's very small, but maybe very useful for our customers. I will go back to faceted search, and we have here this checkbox group. And as you can see, it's sorted, but it's not sorted ascending, it's sorted descending. But when you remember in the past, when this is a distinct LOV, so you don't have a SQL query that changes the order by, you can now set this order also in the page designer. So when we go on this facet with this checkbox group, we have here our distinct values list of value, and we can now set the sort direction. And then the alphanumeric sort direction is changed from ascending to descending if we want this. And so we are now able to have a descending sort just declaratively. All that, what you can do with that, you could also do in the past, but then you have to create your own SQL query. Now you can do it declaratively, so it's much more easier to use. Yeah, that was it from my side. It's just a small enhancement, but hopefully these flexible operators in faceted search will help many customers to clean up their list of faceted search filters. Okay, that was it from my side.
Well, thanks very much, Ronnie. That's great, very useful. Great to have that feature. And then last one for today, we have Antonio talking about custom backgrounds for maps.
Okay, bye.
All right. So, hi, my name is Antonio Rivera, and I will be walking you through this new enhancement for the maps utility on Apex. Actually, this is pretty cool, right? Because after this new enhancement, we were pretty much used, or we were tied to the stuff that we were like shipping out from the app, right? So with this new feature, actually, we are extending that, right? So we are giving the user the possibility to include or to use the new external map backgrounds on the application. So actually, we decided to work on this because we got several requests on this. Well, in order to apply this, right? So I'm pretty sure that most of you are already used to maps, right, on Apex. If no, actually, this is a pretty good chance to get started with the maps, right? So that's why I'm going to use the sample apps. That's a pretty awesome choice to get started with the maps. Try it out and see how it works. So I will use it, right, just to give you like the overview on how this new enhancement works, right? So let's start from the beginning, right? So we have introduced a new share component, right? So this share component, it's map backgrounds. So I'm going to go there. We can have several types. So we are using mainly three types, which are vector. Let's go and create a new one. I have already some examples for vector and for OGC WMS. So let's create one. Let's call it raster. We will have to select the option right in here. We got the help text, so we can see the description of every single type that we're using. So that's pretty cool. So now some of the options that we need to use is basically the URL for this case. And also in case of having an API key, we need to take care of this thing, right? So just let me quickly bring up the reference that I have for this one. So, and also I will add the raster URL in here. And this is something important, right? Because when we are using the API key, we need to make sure that the URL is like this type, right? So what we are going to do is basically just take the value of the API key, and it will be replaced in here, right? So it's basically like a placeholder. So everything seems correct. So I'm going to proceed to create the map background. And that's pretty much it. I mean, when we are dealing with custom map backgrounds, I think that the hardest part is to go out there and to try to find a pretty nice and good looking map among all the different uses options that we have, right? So we have some other options like HTTP headers. Also, we can set the zoom level, right? The minimum, maximum, and some comments for development. So I'm going to apply the changes. I'm not going to go more in detail of the share component options because it's pretty much relying on all the share components options, right? So it behaves as the same. So okay, now I just want to go over this example because this is a little bit different, right? So this is basically using HTTP headers. So it's basically a key value pair, as you can see in here. Also, you have the help text. So it's pretty much straightforward, right? Okay, so now we have already seen how to create the map backgrounds, right? So now the next step will be how can we use it, right? So let's go to the application and let's pick this page. Okay. All right, so the first thing to do is let's look for the properties, for the options where we can play around with this. Okay, so I'm going to see the region because we have split the support of custom map backgrounds on region and also on 2 page items. So let's start with the region. So for the region, we will have to go to attributes, and inside attributes we can find the section of map, right? So this is one change that it's actually has been done on this release, right? Because on past releases we have only 2 options, so default and custom. So we have changed the custom to be built in, but it's basically the same behavior. And the new one is share component. So if we select that, then we are going to see all the different options that we have. But before selecting any of these options, let's try what we have right currently. So let's try default. So I'm going to run the application and we are going to see the map, right? So this is the map that we are currently using. It's one of the old options. So now let's go and change that. Let's make it a share component, and let's go and let's try raster. So that's it. It's basically just an option. We select the standard. We can select dark mode, and it's the same, right? We will have some options, and we select whatever we want to be the dark mode one, right? So let's go and try it. So it will load now a custom map background. So this is the behavior for the region, right? So now let's go and talk about the page items. So I will go back and let's start with display map item, okay? I have created just like a blank page, and let's go here. And we have, this is a little bit different. I mean, for the region, we had to go to the options, right, to the tab. So right now it's basically just in here under settings. So it's the same thing. We will see the default, and well, just for this example, I have specified some static coordinates. So let's see the default one. Okay, so we can see the map. Now we are going to change the background. It's the same thing. Let's select share components, and now let's do a vector with headers, and let's run it. It will load. I think that this map it's more or less similar. Let's try special one. Now we are seeing a difference, right? The other two maps were like similar, but yeah. So this is on display map item, and we have one last use case. So I'm going to go to the sample maps application, and we have the geocoded address. So, but well, this is a little bit different than the other ones. The other ones have the option inside the page, right? But that's not the case for this one. So let's just run this page and see what it comes. So I will have to type something here. So let's try this 69, 62 false view. Okay. All right. So we're pointing to Niagara Falls, but what I want to show you is pretty much the map, right? So how to change the background for this map? We will have to go to share components and to component settings. Now we have to look for geocoded address, and you will find the background option there. It's the same behavior. We select share component, and I like to use raster because we can see the difference right away. Apply the changes, and let's go back to our geocoded address page and run the page. I will have to type in again 69, 62 false view. Niagara. And okay, we are seeing the custom map background applied to our page item. So I think that will cover everything for this enhancement for map map backgrounds. So if you want to give it a try, it's a pretty cool. So try it and let us know what you think about this new enhancement. Thanks, guys. Mark, I think that's all.
All right, thanks very much, Antonio. That looks great. And again, like you can try out all of these new features on apexoracle.com. We've upgraded that instance earlier during the week. So we have a few minutes left. So for the panelists here, did you spot any questions on the Q&A that you want to cover here?
It looks like we've done a great job. The team has answered about 43 questions so far. And if you have any further questions, anything needs a deeper dive, please use the Apex forum or the community support forum where we can talk about it in more conversation. And if you have any good ideas, use the Ideas app, review what's currently posted, vote for any ideas you like, and create any new submissions that are relevant for Apex maybe 24.1 or the future. This is an exciting time to be an Apex developer. I can't wait to start using all these features. Thank you, everyone, for presenting.
All right, thanks, Jason. Cool. Well then, as Jason was saying, if you do have any other questions, go to the forum, and we will have 4 more office hours in this series. So the next 4 weeks, Thursdays at 10 Eastern, we're gonna deep dive into all the other features that we just briefly touched on this week. So come back, ask your questions then, and see all the new features coming.
Someone is asking, is the support window for new releases of Apex still 3 years?
Yeah, they're still supporting Apex for 3 years.
And I think that pretty much draws a close to these particular questions that we can answer in the time that we have. Thank you so much, Mark.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, then thanks all, and we'll see you again in a week.
Yeah. Bye-bye.